Okay, stand by. Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Yes, Houston, we've had a problem.
This issue right now, the JEDI.
Very quickly, because we got to run.
Okay,
really quickly.
The Pentagon is about to outsource cloud security to the top levels of Israeli military intelligence, which has been compromised for years by the Russians and then prior Soviets. Microsoft has put its cloud security in the hands of Adalom, which has been started by 3 Talpiot program members, the highest levels of Israeli military intelligence. Do you have any concerns about putting our Pentagon, entirety of all of our data, in the hands of a potential, foreign government and also back channel to potential Russia and China?
Hola, Internet amigos. I'm going to give you the other half of the control mechanism that makes sure the United States makes a perpetual fool of itself and is hated worldwide. Mike Gill lays out the drugs and money laundering that dirties and pays off everyone and every institution combined with sexual blackmail. Let's give you the other half, taking over US critical infrastructure. I repeat, this is the mechanism of control. It is the reason stupid things keep happening that make you ask, why is no one stopping this self-evident national suicide? Like casually opening your border to desperate third world humanity, drug cartels and terrorist groups, you can easily import your slave labour and baby producers to stimulate your economy legally and lawfully and carefully. Instead, you get politicians calmly opening the door to the house and smiling at you. They are killing the country in front of your face and smiling. We need to explain this and how the enemy is inside the gates, not outside. The barbarians are inside the gates. Recently, a Hollywood actor has sought to raise awareness of the importance of critical infrastructure and national security. Naturally, when I am concerned about death, ill health, my prostate, and destruction of the country, I turn to a Hollywood actor, like Dennis Quaid here on Fox News.
But Dennis Quaid's now done something that nobody's ever been able to do. Scare the heck out of Jesse Waters. Quaid has a new documentary out, Grid Down, Power Up, which explores the frightening possibility of our energy's grid going down.
Heat, gas for our cars, transportation for food restocking, all of it relies to some extent on electricity.
Dennis Quaid joins me now. So people have tried to take out our energy grid. There was some sort of attack with weapons many years ago in California.
There's been several attacks on substations. I heard about one a couple of months ago. And this is not day after tomorrow, by the way. This is tomorrow, I think. It could happen. And it's a problem that we could fix. It's basically this. In 2003, right here in New York, there was a wire that brushed up against a tree limb, and it took out the electricity for New York for 2 days. That was just a small little event. But at a GMT event, like a bad actor could take out through a Chinese balloon for all we know,
so they could have put a little something on that balloon, exploded it over the United States, and we lose power for how long?
Well, it could be up to like 30 days. But what we're talking about is a nuclear explosion up in space.
A nuclear explosion in the atmosphere above the United States could unleash a burst of invisible electrical energy that within a fraction of a second could wash over this country and overload all of our most sensitive electronic devices, including the nation's power grid.
Just 30 days without electricity, it would take us back to 1880, and you wouldn't be able to get gas, you wouldn't be able to get food. The police would stay home, take care of their own families. This is something that if it does happen, it's going to make the COVID look like a kid's show.
You'll note the comment, the electrical grid going down will make COVID look like a, quote, kid show. Yes, I do agree with my Hollywood wise man national security advisor guy on that. I've said it many times, but how do you compete with a bioweapon for clicks? This introduction, which is a little long before the main show, will tell you exactly why US critical infrastructure is totally in the hands of a hostile foreign power bent on the destruction of the United States. Of course, you'll be saying, well, who the hell are you, O'Connell? I'd see this on Fox News or PBS NewsHour, maybe even the BBC, maybe even CNN, but who the hell are you? Well, we're going to explain that. That same power is deep in bed with Germany, Russia, China, and Iran to push an entire new system onto the planet, the multipolar world order. This is the central banking cartel at work, using its subcontractor proxies. This is not the German people or the Israeli people or even the Iranian people or the Russian people or the Chinese people. These are the employees of the international Trotskyite planetary banking cartel. Please understand. You have to understand that what you see Jeremy doing here, ambushing politicians, getting in their face, recording them, getting the information, is exactly what must be done with the Mike Gill revelations. You cannot rely on Twitter and sending links. We can watch videos all day. We watched videos all day on 9/11, and did anyone get an indictment, let alone go to jail? Come on, let's stop being ridiculous. We've got to get in people's faces with information. Let's get into it. Let us attend.
In cyber is a real domain of power. In cyber is a real domain of power.
Senator Sanders, the issue of the JEDI Cloud, the Pentagon being compromised by Israeli intelligence. Have you looked into that? Do you know that Microsoft is basically...
Excuse me.
Okay, this is a key issue, though. When are we going to talk about this? Israeli intelligence took over the Pentagon's cloud architecture.
We're going to talk about that.
Okay, when are we going to talk about it?
There's going to be question and answer time. We're going to have a couple rallies.
Okay.
And please come, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Definitely here. Listen, I completely understand what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm a refugee from Somalia, and I know exactly what that situation is like. So.
Okay.
Now, you can see by these news articles how close both Israel and Russia have been for decades, something the Putin fans will never mention. This is just a tiny taste of the 300-plus articles that have been roaming around the internet on Google Alerts for the last 15 years.
Came to a lot of good conclusions. A really good conclusion for Israel, something very strong. He's a believer in Israel. He's a fan of Bibi. And really helping him a lot, and will help him a lot, which is good for all of us.
It's been sitting in front of everyone's face in the mainstream media, and that shows the levels of discipline in the interactive internet activities online psych warfare world. Some people pushed forward as the heroes of exposing Israeli sexual blackmail and cyber domination will not dare mention the Netanyahu and Putin relationship. Instead, they get on shows like Glenn Beck, and on the very next show, the hardcore Zionist Israeli firster Glenn Beck has on who? Benjamin Netanyahu. I mean, that should be of interest to people. Groupies take note. It has been extensively documented for a decade, the plan being for the multipolar world order and Eurasian trading bloc minus the United States.
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much. First of all, it is a historical, meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu. We have to understand that there was past, visit of former President Shimon Peres, also Ehud Olmert, that actually had some family coming from Arabin in China. So the relationship between Israel and China is really close. It's around $12 billion of trade, and Israel is one of the largest partners in China regarding, in front of the United States and European Union. So it's very important on the trade side.
Lower the barrier for your technology export, even though you have an Icelake code in the United States. China and Israel, on the other hand, is asking China, saying, well, you know what? Please do not limit the capital investment in the technology in Israel, for example, coming from China. And only that would make the technological advancement further progress. So what about demands from both sides?
Yes, you're completely right. There is two angles to the Israel-China relationship. The innovation angle, today China needs innovation to catch up with their competitors, American competitors, Japanese, South Korean competitors. And today the name of the game, the battlefield in between China and the US, reaching to Israel innovation, because Israel is very strong in innovation, a lot of R&D centers. So the battlefield today is named Israel.
China's Belt and Road Initiative in seeking to connect China to Central Asia and eventually to Europe will have the practical significance of shifting the world's center of gravity from the Atlantic to the Pacific, and will involve the cultures of Eurasia, each of whom will have to decide what relationship to this vision they will seek, and so will the United States. This is why many of us urged the United States to join the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank when it was proposed by China.
One other very good reason why Israel should not receive billions of dollars in military assistance annually is its persistent espionage against the United States. The 2005 report states, Israel has an active program to gather proprietary information within the United States. These collection activities are primarily directed at obtaining information on military systems and advanced computing applications that can be used in Israel's sizable armaments industry. It adds that Israel recruits spies, uses electronic methods, and carries out computer intrusion to gain the information.
Syria has been destroyed not by Israel, but by Russia, assisted by Israel. Apparently the Putin fans missed this, stating Netanyahu is scared to death of Putin, who holds him back and in his place by the power of his vodka-fueled hypersonic penis and ability to level entire Syrian cities and keep the country divided and in civil war turmoil. Now, who do you think benefits from that? Israel has no capacity to invade and control Syria. Zero. But Russia does. Thank you very much. Apparently the genius Putin ass kissers believe this act by Putin is terribly upsetting to Bibi and the gang. I mean, seriously? Even Donald Trump gets the scam in one of his Truth Social posts done just recently. Quote, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea and other nations of a less than friendly nature are busy carving up the world as our once great United States of America sits back and watches. End quote. I note Trump didn't mention Israel and Germany, two key players in the planetary carve-up, as agents of the central banking cartel, but come on, give the guy an award. He did well. Give him a gold star. He does say, and other nations of a less than friendly nature. Come on, read between the lines.
Well, I have to say, I think it's very sad when Germany makes a massive oil and gas deal with Russia, where you're supposed to be guarding against Russia, and Germany goes out and pays billions and billions of dollars a year to Russia. So we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting all of these countries, and then numerous of the countries go out and make a pipeline deal with Russia, where they're paying billions of dollars into the coffers of Russia. So we're supposed to protect you against Russia, but they're paying billions of dollars to Russia, and I think that's very inappropriate. And the former chancellor of Germany is the head of the pipeline company that's supplying the gas. I think trade is wonderful. I think energy is a whole different story. I think energy is a much different story than normal trade. And you have a country like Poland that won't accept the gas. You take a look at some of the countries, they won't accept it because they don't want to be captive to Russia. But Germany, as far as I'm concerned, is captive to Russia because it's getting so much of its energy from Russia.
When you understand how these nation states are working under Klaus and the gang and Heinz Kissinger, you will understand the level of white-anting that is ripping US high-technology companies overseas to Israel. The implications of which are catastrophic. I mean this, please listen, catastrophic. It's the end. You wonder why they released a bioweapon? They had to. Otherwise you'd work this one out 10 years ago. Look at these articles detailing how Microsoft have made Israel the country where all its core coding for Windows, Office and the Azure cloud is being done. Remember, we've been pushing these articles for 5+ years. These are old. Quote, numerous reports suggest that the multinational company is transforming its Israeli R&D centers into the nucleus for global development of cybertech for Windows and Microsoft cloud services. End quote. Do you have any idea how alarming that news is? And that's just one detailing the Microsoft Israeli brofest. We have been firing at full blast this news for over 5 long years. I want to make that clear as the internet whores, stars, suddenly catch on and their fan base is amazed at their incredible geopolitical analysis, just 5+ years late.
Microsoft has edge capabilities available now and planning to be available in secret that are just game changers.
They're looking for new and innovative ways to achieve information superiority, but still have the compliance and security mandates. Azure Government Secret introduces new capabilities to unlock the power of that data.
There's been a push to get into secure cloud environments, really being able to provide these organizations with the type of on-demand availability that they really need to do their jobs. Having the power of Azure Secret behind us really gives us that infinite scalability.
Microsoft has been a strong cybersecurity solution provider to the market. Having Azure Secret Cloud is extremely important for our DoD customers and for their mission.
And no longer do they have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars building out classified environments within their facilities and paying for properly securing those environments.
Azure Secret will give us flexibility, speed to market, and computing options for customer in the IC and DoD, where we did not have one before. And this is exciting for both us and for Microsoft.
Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Yes. Houston, we've had a problem.
We place this information in well-made videos published as long as 5 years ago, and not a soul will touch it. It's all in my must-watch playlist link below. I promise you, watch that playlist. You could watch it on an easy weekend. You don't have to read a 900-page monstrosity dual book copy and paste job to learn something. I promise you. Microsoft Windows is used in every computer, from your kid's gaming machine to grandma's email to Boeing engineers' computer-aided design programs to the Pentagon front end to your local bank's front end to the local genetics and molecular biology lab to a high-end military industrial contractor materials science division. They all use Microsoft Windows. The Microsoft Azure Cloud hold everything from your Office programs to the CIA Secure Cloud, and they were almost given the Pentagon JEDI Cloud contract. But we saw the end of that. Watch the upcoming video on how we did it and how no one will dare link to us. I repeat, after this introduction, it's a 20-minute video on the street ambushing every Democratic presidential hopeful on this issue. You will not see anything like it. I'm incredibly proud of the upcoming video. Just wait for it. Hang in there. I know everyone's got the mindfulness of a goldfish, but you need to hang in there.
Senator Harris.
Sorry, can we just start having
It's an important question, and I need to inform her about it. And no, I need to inform her directly about a major national security breach. I'll give it to you, but Senator Harris. Senator Harris. Senator Harris, the issue of the Pentagon cloud going into the hands of Israeli military intelligence and the backdoor to Russian, and you don't have time for the security of the Pentagon cloud, Senator Harris?
Feel the burn.
Israeli military intelligence, Microsoft, please take it.
Thank you.
Very serious. Potentially Article 3, Section 3 issues involved there.
Now, what you just saw is how you must approach the Mike Gill revelations. Link clicking and expressing outrage online will not solve this. You have to get creative. Get in powerful people's faces. Get it on camera. Make it known. They knew. This is Politics 101, and link clicking has never changed a damn thing. But it has made highly successful, rich online social media personalities putting out reaction videos. You do remember 9/11, right?
We went after Iraq. They did not knock down the World Trade Center, okay? It wasn't the Iraqis that knocked down the World Trade Center. We went after Iraq. We decimated the country. Iran's taken over, okay. But it wasn't the Iraqis. You will find out who really knocked down the World Trade Center because they have papers in there that are very secret. You may find it's the Saudis, okay? But you will find out. But it wasn't Iraq.
Well, nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11, unfortunately. They should have, as to the maniacs that did that horrible thing to our city, to our country, to the world. So nobody's really been there.
Did anyone go to jail? No. Come on. Let's get cracking. We stopped the JEDI Cloud going to Microsoft Israel. We did that, and we didn't do it by link clicking. Come on, let's roll. It's not just Microsoft. We have the most advanced Intel Corporation chip design being done where? You guessed it, Israel. Now, you would think that the company that produced 92% of the planet's server chips, that's 2018 numbers, they've lost about 20% now. These run the internet, and the biggest corporations in the world literally might consider its chip design a high priority security issue, wouldn't you? Ever wondered about all this hacking of key central computer systems the world over, all of a sudden, especially Microsoft? Apparently they just caught on the last few years, and to be fair to Donald Trump, when he heard the alarm bells, his administration moved quickly to move top-end chip design and manufacture back to America. but it will take a few more years to get it fully online. The senile hair sniffer, to be fair to his administration, has also maintained that steady course. Well done, there's something to celebrate. That should not be a matter of congratulation, though. It should be a matter of who the f*** put top-end Taiwan Semiconductor 100 miles from the Chinese Communist Party million-man army of organ thieves. I mean, seriously, who? They were going to hand Taiwan Semiconductor over to the Chinese Communist Party as they instigated the multipolar world order. Think about it. You, we dodged a bullet, and it was not the CIA who got the ball rolling. It was you and me. Trust me, the arrogant clowns that run intelligence and security are clueless f***ing morons. Hence why you see ads everywhere for intelligence employees with varied life experiences. Apparently, recruiting baby morons straight out of military schools at 18 or Harvard Coke Party graduates, closet homosexuals with law degrees, is not doing the national security state justice. Fancy that. So who set up this looming national security Titanic iceberg disaster in waiting? Well, Heinz Kissinger, of course, and his City of London EU banking cartel friends. You know, Rupert Murdoch's best buddy, the owner of the most amazing alt-media channel called Fox News, whose star, Tucker Carlson, is the alt-media grassroots bad boy hanging with small-time alt-media truth-tellers like Joe Rogan and Alex Jones, who barely scrape by, making tens of millions of dollars a year. Okay, I hope you realize I'm being sarcastic, obviously. I don't talk about the so-called left at all, as I would not seek to explain mental illness to you or take it seriously. These people are not your friend on either side. These people are stage actors, they have handlers, they have scripts, they have producers who tell them exactly what they can and cannot say. And yet half the planet thinks Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson are their alt-media grassroots friends. I mean, seriously. Back to the computer chips. Naturally, the high-tech design must be done in the US, right? Just like core coding for the world's #1 operating system would be done in the US, right? Would you hand over your most sensitive chip design to a country that makes a national sport out of ripping off the US taxpayer and stealing US technology as a matter of national economic policy? Yet that is exactly what has happened, and of course, until it's revealed on Fox News or CNN or maybe the BBC, no one will believe it. But they did. And you know what Israel did when they cornered that chip design? They've been backdooring the crap out of all Intel chips since the Core 2 Duo design of 2006. In 2008, the prestigious Electrical Engineering Journal of Choice stated the Pentagon was desperately searching for hardware backdoors in computer chips. Fancy that. When it comes to Intel Corporation, I'm not talking about the Intel Management Engine or the Platform Security Processor in AMD systems. These can be negated with a little effort. Now I'm talking about the DEC, the DEC, the Deeply Embedded Core, revealed by Christopher Domas of DARPA back in 2018. It is a tiny chip within the chip with its own operating system that can be accessed with a 64-bit string command, giving full and total control of a computer system that is undetectable. This is a 2018 video of Christopher Domas exposing it all, and you'd think it'd have 25 million views, but no one's even heard of him. Now, wow, you'd think the Domas revelations would be everywhere. Bop. Nope, you'd be wrong. We're all talking about drag queen story time and men who think they're women. Why would you want to know about hardware backdoors in the internet? Isn't that a bit boring? Despite our best efforts to push it everywhere, apart from a few mid-sized tech sites who gave it brushing interest, no one will touch the issue, and I was the first to link the DEC and the work of Domas to Israel back in 2018 when the Intel Icelake 10nm disaster unfolded. Now listen carefully, just pretend to be a geek for 5 minutes. Remember, everything you do right now is controlled by technology and computer chips. Everything. So you need to take an interest in some geeky stuff because let me tell you, remember the people you used to beat up at school? Well, guess what? They now rule the world. Now, it was revealed there were massive, quote, security flaws, aka backdoors, in Intel processors dating back to 2006. It was well publicized 2018, Spectre and Meltdown. Though AMD was also affected, it was nowhere near as bad as Intel because Spectre and Meltdown were a cover story for the deeply embedded core. The issue was so bad, the head of Intel, Brian Kuchanik, resigned, especially after it was revealed he told the Chinese Communist Party about the flaws first, and then the US Congress. He also sold off a bunch of his shares. I mean, I can't believe this. He was apparently having an affair with the corporate accountant. I don't know if she was Chinese or she was 15 years old or maybe a Chinese 15-year-old. We will never know, but he was ostensibly fired over it. Yeah, right. Look at this article. All your great cross-promoted internet whores, stars, have never, ever touched this article. Ever, ever, ever. Do you seriously believe these people are real? They did not miss this. We plastered it to every mainstream alt media star night and day. Quote, Intel CEO, we consider ourselves an Israeli company as much as a US company. Would you like me to repeat that again? Well, I'm going to. You listening? Intel Chief Executive Officer Brian Kicianik. We consider ourselves an Israeli company as much as a US company. Really? But the next line rocks even more. Quote, I just want to say that it will be centered here in Jerusalem. End quote. I'll read it again. This is 2017. He's just handed over $25 billion to Mobileye. And that's not working out so well either. That's another story. Quote, I just want to say that it will be centered here in Jerusalem. End quote. I want to reiterate, I have nothing against Israel leading the world in certain high technology fields. Medical stuff, food stuff, but absolutely not core critical infrastructure, absolutely not the military industrial complex, absolutely not. Maybe some fintech, I'll accept it. They're pretty smart people over there and we'll explain to you why that is, but you absolutely do not hand over your high technology to a hostile foreign power who's out to destroy you and crush you from within while teaming up with Russia and China. And they did that in full view. Okay, let's try parables and metaphor. Are you ready? Imagine you live in a house in a community. You are very rich and very powerful. You have a high security alarm system and guns. You run a highly successful home business in computers and tech. What I'm describing is the United States as a house. Imagine your dad walks out and opens the front gate, turns off the alarm system, tells every homeless low-income street bum to come inside and enjoy a free meal. Along the way, he starts handing over the keys to the successful business to his major competitors. He allows them to walk in, take stuff, and build the business at their competing offices. As this is unfolding, his wife and children complain that chaos is breaking out in the kitchen, the lounge room, and the kids' bedrooms. Dad replies, "What problem? Everything is fine." Screams come from the daughter's bedroom. She is being raped by a bunch of drugged-up homeless people allowed into the house by Dad. Dad says, quote, "Be calm, everyone. It's just a small adjustment issue in our brave new existence. It will pass." Dad starts drugging the family meals with Xanax and ecstasy pills to keep his family from freaking out. By now, the eldest son should be aware that Dad is either mentally ill or a corrupt old pedophile afraid to go to jail and would rather destroy the family business and home and hand it over to the opposition. The eldest son then does what needs to be done, restores order, as lovingly as possible, with whatever required ruthlessness gets the job done. Remember, we don't want law and order, we want love and order, but we will have order. War has been declared, and everyone is sitting around talking about their upset feelings on the internet. We are in an age of incitement, and violence is the last option, not the first.
My friend Ali Alexander says this to me right here, and he makes a good point. You know, if they do try to steal this election from us and they try to put Joe Biden in the White House, they've been dealing with Trump for 4 years. They're going to have to start dealing with us in their face.
Information and breaking the hypnotic, drugged-up spell Americans are under will fix this. Start with the eldest son, the security services who must live in America too. They have mortgages. They have children. They can and they will fix it, and they have begun. It will help if we get behind them. Now let's get back to that last quote on Intel and Israel. Quote, I just want to say that it will be centered here in Jerusalem. End quote. What? Their office party will be centered in Jerusalem? Their next vacation pilgrimage centered in Jerusalem? What are they centering in a place they call, quote, Moscow on the Mediterranean, Tel Aviv and surrounding suburbs? So they're not centered in Phoenix, Arizona, close to US FBI and CIA counterintelligence and strict security oversight of the chips that run the planet. No, they put the top-end design in the greatest industrial espionage thief of all time, Israel, who is conversely deep in bed with Russia and China, and it is being done in gaslighting heaven, in full view, and not a damn moronic soul in Congress will simply lay it out with the appropriate urgency and alarm. Israel is a geostrategic hub. You can stay friends with Israel and the average Israeli mortgage-paying sap while dealing with the scum that have taken over the country. It's not hard. If they won't do it or they're slow, we got to do it. Again, it will not sink in because until Fox News or CNN or PBS NewsHour do a full-blown expose on this ridiculous disaster, will you truly understand what has gone on. And we have bleated non-stop for 5+ years, begging the internet cross-promoting whores, sorry, I meant stars, to tell you all about this issue. But it gets better.
They have a national goal to be a global, to be the global co-equal with the United States and superior militarily by mid-century. They're on that path to do that. And that's really disturbing. That's really bothersome.
So, Congressman, why is Biden's defense budget not keeping up with inflation? That will effectively cut our defense spending. Why are they doing that?
Well, Stu, I agree with General Millie that the Chinese military is starting to eclipse us in key areas like hypersonics. Their Navy is larger than ours. Their Space Force is launching more than us and the rest of the world combined. But I disagree with them that there's nothing we could do to stop it. You and I have talked about that they are financing this military buildup on our money, that they are resourcing it with our intellectual property that they're stealing left and right from academia, research institutions, and through cyber. I think there's actually a lot we can do, and they're using our components to put into their missiles. So I think there's actually a lot we should and could do, and we have to do to slow down their military buildup because they're doing it, again, on our money. And the other piece is we need a World War II style investment into our industrial base, shipbuilding, wrench turning, electronics. This is no time for defense cuts on either side of the aisle.
Who are the Israeli techs, the geeks, the electrical engineers, coders who are working on all of this high-end Israeli cyber that makes them a world power? And just to make the point, what did Bibi say at a 2019 cyber conference about Israel's place in the planetary surveillance world?
You know the 5 eyes? Israel is the 6th eye? No, Israel is the 2nd eye. Israel is the 2nd eye. Israel is the 2nd eye. Israel is the 2nd eye.
Oh my.
You really need to watch my 5-year-old plus must-watch playlist. Whitney Webb didn't tell you about that, did she? Whitney Webb's groupies, thousands of them. We handed it to her. Wouldn't touch it. Think about it. She's supposed to be the Grand Master of this issue. We'll get more into her later, trust me. So who's working on all this chosen high-end stuff in the Holy Land, aka Silicon Wadi? Jews from Swaziland, Jews from Iceland, Jews from Morocco. Hey, wasn't Mordecai Vanunu the nuclear secrets guy from Morocco? Oh, we shan't speak about that guy, but anyway, let's keep trying. Jews from Syria, Jews from America and the UK. Yeah, there are a few of those, definitely, 100%. But do you know where Israel gets the vast majority of their top-level coders, electrical engineers, missile technicians, aeronautical engineers, materials scientists? Hold your breath. They get them from Russia. Myself and my friends, a loosely associated group of people, of nobodies, have been bleating these few news articles since 2017, and the Putin groupies who hate Netanyahu and Israel will not say a word. This is one of my all-time faves, and you will never see this article repeated anywhere. I defy you to show anyone besides me who has pushed this article as vital to understanding the Russia-Israel relationship. I assure you, wonder child Whitney Webb will never mention this article, despite having it sent to her 5,000 times by her supporters over the years, especially when she's on Hardcore Zionist Glenn Beck's Rupert Murdoch offshoot show, and the next guest on is Benjamin Netanyahu. That explains Whitney Webb's superstar slow learning mode she has on this issue. She's not slow learning. She's a plant. You'll get it. Wait for it. Whitney Webb appeared on Glenn Beck to explain to the Zio Clown audience, quote, "It's okay, she's one of ours." It's the only reason she was on there. Here is the article from the 17th of August 2011 that Whitney and the whole range of internet whores, social media influencer stars, will not tell you. Are you ready? Remember, this is 2011. Quote, "Israel's former Soviet immigrants transform adopted country. Russian-speaking Jews who arrived over the past 20 years have integrated little, but influenced everything, from culture to politics. The million-plus citizens of the former Soviet Union who migrated to Israel in the past 20 years have not only made new lives of their own, but they have transformed their adopted country. They have influenced the culture, high-tech industry, language, education, and, perhaps most significantly, Israeli politics." Strictly speaking, not all of them are Jewish. In traditional Judaism, only someone whose mother is Jewish who has undergone a formal conversion to Judaism is a Jew. But from 1990, anyone from the former Soviet Union who had a Jewish father or grandparent or who was married to someone meeting those criteria was granted Israeli citizenship under the country's law of return. According to Israel's Central Bureau of Statistics, around 30% of immigrants from the former Soviet Union in the 1990s were not Jews or not considered Jewish under Orthodox law. In 2005, that figure leapt to 59%. Only around 5% of the non-Jews have converted. Did you hear that? All the neo-Nazis and white nationalists who love Putin, and they don't even realize that the vast majority of the top-level people running the country, from the education to the high-tech to the political, don't even qualify as Jewish, nor do they identify as Jewish. Let's continue. Quote, "It was a very different type of immigration," said Lily Galili, an Israeli journalist writing a book about the impact of the tidal wave from the former Soviet Union. They didn't want to integrate. They wanted to lead. They changed the nature of the country. Read the article. It's linked below. Gasp and ask why you have never heard. And yet we've been bleating for years. This is the Interactive Internet Activities Online Psychological Warfare program today as it stands. You think Tucker Carlson's going to read that article? Let's read this bit again. They have influenced the culture, high-tech industry, language, education, and perhaps most significantly, Israeli politics. The link to the full article is below. Basically, a giant load of ethnic Russians posing as Jews have taken over Israel, which might explain this little article from the Times of Israel on the 8th of May 2020. Quote, FBI source in Russia probe called Israelis f***ing spies who should be killed. I mean, the FBI is not beating around the bush here. It continues. Oh my God, what a title. It's brilliant. DOJ releases transcript of source speaking with George Papadopoulos, who was probed by Mueller over his ties to Israel, which includes references to the Mossad, fake Russian Jews. Oh my Lord, that is a classic article. I want to remind you, Jews feed me a ton of information. Jews who have lived and worked in Israel feed me a ton of information, and the Israeli press is exposing the whole damn thing. So don't let them con you into hating Jews. Believe me, Bibi wants you hating Jews. He needs Jews in Europe and America terrified, preferably so they won't speak out, and secondly, so they will actually immigrate to Israel. He needs the high technology specialists out of the United States and Europe. That's why he wants to crush and destroy and subvert these countries from within with his little plans. Now, how about this one from 2021? Quote, Haredi rabbi blames Soviet reform Jews, that's code for commies, for destroying the people of Israel. Jews from the former Soviet Union and Reform Jews are non-believers who are destroying Judaism in Israel. Again, code for commies. Now, go and use that to your evangelical friends. Go and use it. Tell them what's going on. That one article is gold. It's dynamite. Hell, it beats Putin's hypersonic penis. It is gold. Have you ever seen it repeated anywhere? No, you haven't. Especially by your online social media whores, stars, who are hiding this issue with their extreme limited hangouts. Don't worry, you'll work it out. Let's keep going. Now, it's correct. Israel was set up by Bolsheviks flooding into then Palestine post-1917. As David Ben-Gurion enthusiastically announced after visiting Moscow and Stalin in 1924, quote, I am a Bolshevik. I kid you not. How about this article from October 27, 2004? Quote, after East Germany fell, I considered escaping to Israel. Once head of the legendary Stasi intelligence service, Marcus Wolf reveals in an interview that his Jewish roots may partially explain why East Germany did not spy on Israel during his term. Fancy that. Now, did any of your internet pro-Putin internet stars tell you about that article? Look, we have been bleeding on about this issue using these articles since the day our Google alerts alerted us about them 5+ years ago. Where are your cross-promoted internet stars? What, they don't have Google? They don't have Google alerts? They forgot to check their Twitter as we inundated them with this information years ago? Let's not stop. Let's keep going. How about these articles from Ynet News on the history of Soviet KGB and GRU penetration of Israel? You really need to read it. It's linked below. Read all 5 parts. It is explosive. Listen, quote, in 1992, Vasily Mitrokhin, a KGB archivist, defected to the West with a trove of top-secret documents from the Soviet intelligence agency, which helps expose many Russian agents and assets in Israel and elsewhere. This series of articles explores these documents and brings to light the secrets they revealed. It's explosive stuff. The articles go on to quote that British intelligence have only released, get this, 3% of the documents they have on Israel. 3%. The Brits still got it all. It's probably in a Rothschild archive somewhere. How convenient. Just like Edward Snowden and Julian Assange like to keep documents in Israel and their espionage nicely concealed. But hey, it's open slather on US espionage and dirty dealings because the aim is to force US elites into accepting their more limited role in the multipolar world order. This is how the bankers play the game, playing off local elites against each other and placing their whore agents in power. First they take Tel Aviv, then they take New York with their Israeli visas and GRU, Russian military intelligence, sleeper credentials, faithful allies of Uncle Sam in the deepest recesses of the US high-tech and security agencies. War was declared upon you a long time ago, America. You have been completely penetrated and you better wake the f*** up. The people hiding this information are not mistaken. They are trying to kill you and kill the Republic, and you should act accordingly. Why do you think Whitney Webb and the gang won't set foot back in the United States? She's over in London. And again, we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, you do know there will be a movie about this, right? No, I'm being serious. There will literally be a movie. It will be A-grade actors straight out of Hollywood. Hopefully they'll get it at least 30% right. You know Hollywood. Now check out the old Soviet Union-born Avigdore Lieberman sitting in this lovely F-35 high-tech stealth fighter jet. Just understand the F-35 has one role, to distribute high-tech around the world, even to the enemies of the United States. They have to. How do you keep up your military-industrial complex, War Powers Act, free stuff to the high-technology sector if you don't have enemies? You can go to Congress and say, oh my God, Putin's got a hypersonic penis. He's got a special targeting helmet in his new SU garbage 57 Felon fighter, which is a piece of garbage. They have to keep feeding the technology to the enemies to keep this going. Now, you can bet Avigdore's old buddy Putin would just love some of the blueprints and tech of that aircraft, which is partially designed and built in Israel. And Turkey too, I might add. Quote, WikiLeaks cable, Russian leadership viewed Lieberman as one of its own. Message from US Embassy to State Department shows Foreign Minister was treated as an old friend during a 2009 visit to Moscow. The Russian leadership sees Foreign Minister Avigdore Lieberman as, quote, one of its own, a US official indicated in a WikiLeaks document released on Sunday. In the cable, the US official said that the Foreign Minister cemented Moscow's impression that the Russian-speaking Lieberman is one of their own, saying that the Foreign Minister conducted his meetings in Russian, shared stories about Moscow and smoked, creating a comfortable atmosphere with his Russian interlocutors. End quote. I'm sure all that new Russian tech closely resembles the US tech Israel gave it and has been giving both Russia and China for decades. China is literally a direct product of US and EU investment, but particularly the United States. It did not pull a laser lathe out of its bottom. It was sold or given to them by the so-called West, because you can't build a high-tech military-industrial complex without an official enemy. Would you like me to go on? Who was head of Microsoft in Israel? That would be Assaf Rappaport, graduate of both Israeli Military Intelligence Unit 8200 and Telpiot program. That's a big story. We gave that to Whitney Webb. She would not touch it. Instead, she gave you a 40-year-old copy and paste news in a 900-page monstrosity 2-book series, which had about 5 pages of half-assed info you could have gotten off one of my videos published 5 years ago. It was virtually like the Warren Commission report, just a gigantic grab bag of facts and figures that were designed to confuse, not to elucidate. She also spent an inordinate amount of time exposing the royals and Prince Andrew and Epstein Island. Why not the lizards? Maybe the royal Jesuit lizards. I mean, seriously? Prince Andrew? As Stalin said to the Pope's emissary in 1945 when he asked of the Soviets' plan for East Europe, Stalin replied, and I quote,
"And how many tank divisions has the Pope?"
I would ask, how many cyber divisions have the fat lazy royals? Whitney Webb wrote a good article on Israel and Microsoft Election Guard in 2019 and then suddenly stopped. Thus far and no further. This was at the height of our attempts to get through to her and her groupie friends who were all the while praising Putin and Xi of China and Iran. I mean, we were ecstatic with her arrival. We were going, that's great, she looks like a librarian. What, are they going to call her a Nazi? Well, we soon found out she wasn't exactly as she appeared. Oh, Iran, a place I know a bit about, and the alleged financiers of Mint Press News, her still employer, though she claims to have broken ranks, she hasn't. She's still employed by them. When old man of 9/11 research Daniel Hopsicker exposed Mint Press News as a front for intelligence money, Whitney Webb threatened to sue, or was Hopsicker paid to take it down? In that expose titled Paint at Mint, Hopsicker noted the financier of Mint Press News, Odeh Muhawash, had strong links to students of the original Ayatollah Khomeini. No, I'm not making that up. The Ayatollah of rock and roller. Think about it. Mint Press News is not based in Iran. It's in the United States. And the guy has all the smell of an intelligence front and drug money. Which brings me to the other factoid Hopsicker brought out. Whitney Webb's father, Richard Webb IV, smelling highly suspicious himself and based in Sarasota, Florida, home of the 9/11 hijackers, Dickie Webb makes $200 million land deals as a corporate lawyer. Ooh, my spider senses are tingling. Quote, Richard Webb IV, a shareholder at Sarasota's iCard, Merrill, Cullis, Tim and Ginsberg, PA, recently represented the seller in the marketing and sale of a $212 million portfolio of manufactured housing retirement communities in Sarasota and Central Florida. The portfolio included over 2,000 home sites and featured the Camelot Lakes and Camelot East retirement communities in Sarasota, which sold for a combined $165 million. The portfolio was acquired by Cove Communities, a national real estate company based in Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, Arizona. That state has a reputation almost as good as New Hampshire these days, remember? Quote, Webb is a member of the firm's manufactured housing group and concentrates his practice in the areas of real estate law, business law, and manufactured housing law. I don't suppose he went to Harvard or Yale, did he, by chance? Maybe he knows George W. Bush. Yeah, manufactured sounds about right. Look at what Cove Communities are into. Lots of houses with a lot of vacation traffic going through them. Well, that's handy for storing large amounts of drugs and also persons of interest to intelligence operations like, alleged Muslim terrorists learning to fly aircraft into buildings. I mean, they have to live somewhere where heavy traffic of holiday makers takes place. And all those RVs with large capacity luggage for transporting large packages around the country, operated by sweet and innocent middle-aged or retired couples, maybe a few kids in there. I mean, would the police pull it over to do a thorough search? You know where I'm heading with this, don't you? Whitney Webb, Sweet Dad and Cove Communities. Could it be? Brendon's wild and wide-ranging speculation that I am prone to, does it have legs? Will we make it to the end of this dark and mist-filled road? Will I injure my muscly shoulders drawing this very long bow? The rich kid daughter of a very wealthy US establishment family, 2 kids, a dog, organic chickens, a scruffy Fabian socialist anti-nuke campaigner type for a sperm donor, and solar panels down in KGB SVU Chile, covering for a drug trafficking ring running with an international private intelligence operation funding local propaganda news outlets like Mint Press News and their bottomless cash pit. Could it be? Someone call Dan Hopsicker. He specializes in this stuff. He was sued already. Dan was warned off exposing Mint Press and Richard Webb by George Webb, one fine 2019 day by the sea. This is not the original video where George Webb stated Daniel should take down his expose of Mint Press News, but it is almost the identical setting. He stated they all shared the same publisher, Trine Day Publishing. Why not self-publish? It's child's play, print on demand. Where is the original video of their meeting? First the sound went completely out of sync, then the video disappeared completely off YouTube. Then I went to get my backup copy and found it gone. Unperturbed, being the fanatical archiver and backer-upper extraordinaire, I went to my mega cloud backup, and while I fumbled through the folders, my entire 1.2 terabyte cloud backup disappeared from under me. I was not happy. And who does George Webb hang out with, or used to hang out with? NATO Marine and CIA Psyche Warfare training officer Robert David Steele. He ghost wrote General Al Gray's memoir, the man Kay Griggs said was the most evil man she knew, involved in drug trafficking, murder, assassinations. Steele is a self-evident fraud plant of epic proportions who some say was caught with something on his laptop. As punishment, he was given the punishment battalion treatment, the conspiracy plant handler, aka the Intel shit detail.
This may strike your listeners as way out, but we actually believe that there is a colony on Mars that is populated by children who were kidnapped and sent into space on a 20-year ride. So that once they get to Mars, they have no alternative but to be slaves on the Mars colony.
His daughter, Beth Ann Steele, is a PR officer for the FBI. Steele likes to hang with that other Intel lackey and sexual blackmail operator, Roger Stone, as exposed by Jason Goodman.
See what's going on. Just very briefly, two absolute titans in the world of independent media are here with Jerome Corsi and Roger Stone. Now, Roger, there are people who are spreading fake news, and I certainly don't want to ask you to disparage any of your colleagues, but we all know that you are acquainted with Robert David Steele, and there's a photograph of you with Robert David Steele standing under a portrait of, is it Theodore Roosevelt?
Yes, it's at PJ Clark's restaurant here in Washington, D.C., and the picture is 100% authentic. We had a very pleasant dinner together, and we talked global strategy.
There is Jerome Corsi, direct link in with Kissinger and Associates, and Putin and General Flynn attending the Russia Today celebration where he sat next to Putin himself. All of them are up to their necks in foreign intel, Russian, Israeli filth. All of them. And you can link Whitney back to all of them. All these links back to Israel, Russia, and Iran. And we all know how fond they are of Klaus Schwab and the multipolar world order.
Politically, the driving forces for this political transformation, of course, is the transition into a multipolar world, which has a tendency to make our world much more fragmented.
Now, Whitney Webb's latest is the classic limited hangout of hangouts when you understand what she is not telling you. Whitney Webb was brought in to replace me, period. Unfortunately for her and her Fox News, Murdoch and Kissinger handlers, I'm still here. Look at what she wrote recently. CIA Mossad-linked surveillance system quietly being installed throughout the US. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, she must be out to get Israel. She must be out to expose critical infrastructure. I mean, surely. Look at the article she's written. You go, girl. She won't be held back by the alt-media patriarchy. But she may be assisted by Kissinger and Associates and Tucker Carlson and Fox News. We await her appearance there. If I were to point out what she has deliberately omitted from the Israel and cyber issue, it would be a 2-hour introduction at minimum, and we're already pushing an hour, I can tell you. What isn't she telling you? Well, watch my must-watch playlist first with 5-year-old videos and you will see what she has missed, and we gave it to her and all her little friends in 2019. She didn't miss it. She's been told to ignore it. She's an employee. Are you getting aroused at the thought of Israeli Mossad-linked companies putting surveillance into schools? Are you aroused, perplexed, curious, angered? How about conned? If you're getting aroused about that little tidbit she's handing you, what would you say to the entire US critical infrastructure being in the hands of Israel and by default, Israel's new allies, Russia and China? Have you ever not wondered why and how it is this lot of Rothschild bastard sons are so cocky? Like they were assured the United States would fall into line and retreat back into its little section of the planet in the new shiny and sparkly banker multipolar world order. Once you understand how bad it is, you will understand Whitney Webb and the intense cross-promotion she gets all the way to Rupert Murdoch, Heinz Kissinger and Tucker Carlson's best friend Alex Jones. She has appeared on Redacted with former Fox News con artist and thief of $5 million, Clayton Morris. Just put Clayton Morris thief and even better, Elon Musk fraud, into a search engine and knock yourself out. Her incompetent boyfriend and sperm donor, Johnny Vedmore, has also been on Tucker Carlson and Rupert Murdoch's friend Clayton, I Love Putin, Morris, and Redacted. He believes the incredible Mike Gill revelations are of no interest to Whitney Webb. I mean, what more do you need? We'll get back to that later. Do you seriously think Whitney Webb is so utterly incompetent and out of touch she does not know who Zohar Zissapel is and his huge company Rad Group? Remember our Hollywood star frantically warning the American public about the electrical grid?
This is something that if it does happen, it's going to make the COVID look like a kid's show.
We have an inside joke. When will Zohar Zissapel get mentioned by good old Whitney Webb? She's been anointed for this issue. She won't say his name. And after we finish, you'll see why. All right? Once this starts coming out, you watch. Zohar Zisapel, the rad dad of the world's telecom industry.
The change begins with two brothers who were thought to be the founding fathers of high-tech in Israel, Yehuda and Zohar Zisapel. Yehuda and Zohar studied at the Technion and received degrees from the Faculty of Electrical and Computers Engineering and later on MBAs from Tel Aviv University. In the middle of the 70s, Yehuda founded the Binut Company for the marketing of data communications products, while Zohar was involved in research and development in the field of electronics for a special unit of the Department of Defense. For his endeavors, he was awarded the Israel Defense Prize. In the early 1980s, with youthfulness and daring, they founded RAD Data Communications with the aim of developing unique products and to compete with giant companies in the global market. Together, they created a miniature modem that was revolutionary and resulted in resounding economic success. The innovative ideas inspired the founding of additional startup companies, and Yehuda and Zohar became the first serial entrepreneurs of the State of Israel. And RAD is considered an entrepreneurial hub. Today, the group employs 4,500 workers and exports to 160 countries and is extremely proud of being the source of more than 50 successful serial entrepreneurs. The brothers are not limited to the fields of communication and computers. Yehuda is active in the field of biotechnology and biomedical technology. He established, together with Professor Navar Zisapel, the Neurim Pharmaceuticals Company and the RAD Biomed Accelerator. Lately, Zohar has been active in the field of AI.
RAD has helped change life as we know it, enabling high-speed and wireless communication and secure telephone networks and banking. Today, RAD is a solutions provider for more than 100 telecom operators around the world, including AT&T, British Telecom, Deutsche Telekom, France Telecom, Japan Telecom, and Orange France. It provides communication tools to major players in the banking, commerce, education, finance, government, military, transportation, and utility sectors. That's the electrical grids and amongst other things, and water, you name it. Wow, Whitney will really be onto this. I was onto it and posting about it in 2009. That is what, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years ago, and reporting it to state counterterrorism at the same time. I had it in a 2012 High Court synopsis written from jail. We gave her it all in 2019, and she blocked us all with her friends Ryan Christian of The Last American Vagabond and James Corbett while they kissed Putin's ass night and day and never told you what the Belt and Road was all about and who was on it.
China's Belt and Road Initiative in seeking to connect China to Central Asia and eventually to Europe will have the practical significance of shifting the world's center of gravity from the Atlantic to the Pacific, and will involve the cultures of Eurasia, each of whom will have to decide what relationship to this vision they will seek, and so will the United States. This is why many of us urge the United States to join the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank when it was proposed by China.
None of the large audience social media whores, stars, seem to notice. All they do but say nothing because they all work for someone and they all take orders. I don't know. Maybe they just like the clickbait money. Maybe they just know where the lowbrow click fear porn bait is, and right now that's with COVID. So they're all going where the money is. Imagine we have for 4 years, at minimum, been showing clearly with mainstream media sources that Israel is in bed with Russia, China and Iran on the giant Rothschild European banking cartel-funded Belt and Road project. And where, oh where, is the analysis? This was the Stalinist dream of old, the Mackinder World Island. Have you noticed a little more analysis now? Just a little more. I shoved it in your face at some risk to myself back in early 2017, just back from Iran.
As the apple pie arrives. Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Thank you. Well, in a very meaningful way, not so meaningful, it's time, man. And it's time we looked at the big players like the Alex Joneses, you know, the Sibel Edmonds, the Corporate Report, all the rest have got to start weaving this narrative.
If you go to One Belt, One Road International Summit in Beijing...
What's Putin saying? He's talking about exactly what Anatoly Golitsyn said would happen. That they would seek a pan-Arab, pan-Russia-Europe union all the way from the Volga to the North Sea, or the Channel. And that's exactly what we see happening with Donald Trump talking about the dismantling of NATO. While I implore a cleaning out of NATO, I don't know about its dismantling. You should know now what the Telpiot program is. You should know what Unit 8200 is. You should know what a SANIM is. You should know who Rad Group is and Zohar Zisapel. You should know about all these Israeli companies dominating the high technology sector, the core infrastructure of the internet, the private technology companies who are handling spying for the NSA and Homeland Security. This is your issue, and we hope these bright young colonels in the Pentagon are going to take that oath seriously. Let's now round up that little video of Vladimir Putin and the relationship between Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli state, and Russia on high technology transfers. How Israel is taking, stealing, thieving data from the United States and then passing it on to Russia. This is a path you need to look at. Newsbar, Sibel Edmonds, Corbett Report. You need to start following this stuff up. You really do. And it's being, people are shutting off comments because a lot of people are going on, my little juggalos, my little shits, are going on there and stirring up trouble by saying, why don't you talk about Telpiot, the Technion, Unit 8200, these vast swarms of Israeli Jews and Jews in general, working in the Israeli Defense Force, then electronic data intercept companies, doing the Telpiot program, starting big companies, all Israeli, go through the whole core infrastructure, Red Group, particularly Red Group, RAD Group under Zohar Zisapel. It's massive, and they're passing on this high-level, highly top secret technology to Russia. They're selling it to China, to India. They're arming their enemies of the United States. They're trying to bring the United States down. I hope it's become a bit more clear to you and how this narrative has to be woven by the top players. The top players have got to stop ignoring this subject. It's not up to some guy who's... It's time for a new narrative. I'm not saying I've got the truth. I'm telling you, it's time for a new narrative.
The last American vagabond recently wrote a glowing article on how wonderful Xi Jinping is. No mention by Whitney Webb's employer as to the Israeli, German, Russian and China cooperation on the Belt and Road and the Eurasian Economic Union. All their fave friends, including Iran, were signing on to it until very recently. Apparently, a giant superpower is about to sit right in the middle of it all in Ukraine once they've done having fun making Russian tank turrets fly up in the air. Rad Group run all the electrical grid security for the United States and endless Class A infrastructure contracts. You needed to know about this 15 years ago. Amdocs does billing for all US telecom characters. We learned about that in 2001 from, of all places, Fox News.
Now Fox News has learned some U.S. investigators believe that there are Israelis again very much engaged in spying in and on the U.S., who may have known things they didn't tell us before September 11th. Fox News correspondent Carl Cameron has details in the first of a four-part series.
Since September 11th, more than 60 Israelis have been arrested or detained, either under the new Patriot anti-terrorism law or for immigration violations. A handful of active Israeli military were among those detained, according to investigators, who say some of the detainees also failed polygraph questions when asked about alleged surveillance activities against and in the United States. There is no indication that the Israelis were involved in the 9/11 attacks, but investigators suspect that the Israelis may have gathered intelligence about the attacks in advance and not shared it. A highly placed investigator said there are, quote, tie-ins, but when asked for details, he flatly refused to describe them, saying, quote, evidence linking these Israelis to 9/11 is classified. I cannot tell you about evidence that has been gathered. It's classified information. The Israelis are motivated by strong survival instincts, which dictate every facet of their political and economic policies. It aggressively collects military and industrial technology, and the U.S. is a high priority target. The document concludes, quote, Israel possesses the resources and technical capability to achieve its collection objectives.
A spokesman for the the Israeli embassy here in Washington issued a categorical denial, saying any suggestion that Israelis are spying in or on the U.S. is, quote, simply not true. There are other things to consider, and in the days ahead, we will take a look at the U.S. phone system and law enforcement's methods for wiretaps, and an investigation into the possibility that both have been compromised by our friends and allies overseas. We learned about an Israeli-based private communications company for whom a half dozen of those 60 detained suspects worked. American investigators fear information generated by this firm may have fallen into the wrong hands and had the effect of impeding the September 11th terror inquiry. Here's Carl Cameron's second report.
Fox News has learned that some American terrorism investigators fear certain suspects in the September 11th attacks may have managed to stay ahead of them by knowing who and when investigators are calling on the telephone. How? By obtaining and analyzing data that's generated every time someone in the U.S. makes a phone call.
What's sitting and say, please?
Here's how the system works. Most directory assistance calls and virtually all call records and billing in the U.S. are done for the phone companies by Amdocs Limited, an Israeli-based private telecommunications company. Amdocs has contracts with the 25 biggest phone companies in America and more worldwide. The White House and other secure government phone lines are protected, but it is virtually impossible to make a call on normal phones without generating an Amdocs record of it.
In tonight's report, we learned that the concern about phone security extends to another company founded in Israel,
that provides the technology that the U.S. government uses for electronic eavesdropping. Here is Carl Cameron's third report.
The company is Comverse Infosys, a subsidiary of an Israeli-run private telecommunications firm with offices throughout the U.S. It provides wiretapping equipment for law enforcement. Attorney General John Ashcroft and FBI Director Robert Mueller were both warned October 18th in a hand-delivered letter from 15 local, state, and federal law enforcement officials who complained that, quote, law enforcement's current electronic surveillance capabilities are less effective today than they were at the time CALEA was enacted. Comverse insists the equipment it installs is secure, but the complaint about this system is that the wiretap computer programs made by Comverse have in effect a back door through which wiretaps themselves can be intercepted by unauthorized parties.
Most of those individuals said they had served in the Israeli military, which is compulsory there, but they also had, most of them, intelligence expertise and either worked for Amdocs or other companies in Israel that specialize in wiretapping. Earlier this week, the Israeli embassy here in Washington denied any spying against or in the United States. Tony?
This is about SAS Campbell Barracks, Leon Wind, Variant. Timothy, you told me that Variant does your local and national, your local police intercept from Israeli intelligence front.
Pop you in the car.
Yeah, I know you are, Tim. You, Tim. Okay.
Now link all this in with Mike Gill revelations, New Hampshire drug trafficking, drug money laundering, corruption in the IRS, DEA, FBI, and Israeli startup money in banks like Silicon Valley Bank and their purchase of drug money laundering bank, Boston Private Bank and Trust. Think about it. Join the dots. Variant does databases like Promise for all US law enforcement and also Class A critical infrastructure security. These are all Israeli companies, and they are full of Russian GRU and SVU long-term sleeper assets and ethnic Russian Israelis who hate America. Unit 8200 and Telpiot graduates have deeply penetrated every facet of the US high technology sectors, CIA, NSA, and endless private security cyber contractors. And Whitney Webb managed one interview on Rick Wiles of True News about it, and no one can even find it anymore. You can bet she didn't mention my name. I mean, you remember Rick Wiles and True News, that grassroots news outlet who get their reporters in to ask direct questions to President Trump because they're so grassroots and all?
Go ahead. Mr. President, my name is Edward Zoll with True News. Today you met with Bibi Netanyahu from Israel, and you brought up actually that you support a two-state solution for the Palestinian-Israeli crisis there. Can you give us any more preview of what this great deal, the peace deal?
Well, I'd love to be able to make a deal with the Israelis and the Palestinians. You know, my whole life I was told that's the toughest deal.
Whitney never once let it be known who was handing her all the information on this issue, like people who went to jail and into exile over it, including trips to Iran, Lebanon, and Malaysia. And Whitney Webb is laughing at you with that pathetic article on Israel and school security. How about the rest of the entire US critical infrastructure, law enforcement, CIA, Pentagon Cloud, Microsoft Windows, Microsoft Office, Microsoft Azure Cloud?
You guys try to stop me from walking with her and talking about a national security issue. Congressman, yesterday was the anniversary of the USS Liberty, where Israelis killed lots of U.S. Navy men. Now we're going to put the Pentagon Cloud in the hands of the same government? It's very weird.
Can I have your email, and then I'll just take all your questions and get them through, and we'll get back to you.
Sure. Give me your card and I'll email you. Can I give you the flyers that I wanted for her to have? Because I've been discussing with the local veterans, the local National Guards people. This is a very serious issue. This is about to happen. You know, the last time that cyber was put in the hands of Israeli nationals was in the run-up to September 11th, when Amit Yaron, the Israeli national who was sheep-dipped in the U.S. Army, was put in charge of the Pentagon cyber infrastructure. Are you aware of that?
You know what? I'm not. I'm just waiting for Congressman. I'll get back to the car. That's my job. So.
Okay, I understand that. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate your understanding.
Yes. Well, I would appreciate some understanding from the Congresswoman and her staff about how serious these issues are. This decision about the Pentagon Cloud is going to come down to Amazon or Microsoft. Microsoft at this point is largely coded in Israel. Israel for decades has been penetrated by the highest levels of previously Soviet intelligence, now Russian military intelligence. They're probably having Russian military intelligence working on F-35s that have been given over to Israel. And now if Microsoft gets the contract, they have just recently bought Adalom, which was started by the three people from the Talpiot program, which is the highest level Israeli military intelligence. long-term military intelligence planning. And so that is the cybersecurity hands that we're about to pass, potentially, the Pentagon's cloud architecture into.
I'll have a discussion with Tom about it.
Okay.
You can email Aaron, or Aaron will know you, and you guys can have a discussion about all of that, and we'll switch into the process.
Okay, I appreciate that.
And commit right now.
No, I appreciate that. And but my sense was that the Congresswoman took national security issues very seriously, and the issue of wars and veterans.
And on and on and on. I mean, we have radical Zionist Israeli first Hasidim women who are the 2IC of the freaking NSA, for crying out loud. Excuse me? Have we left anything out? Amazon, Google, Qualcomm. You think of the company, they have offices there and brag their top-level tech was designed in Israel. I mean, you do realize that 5G was originally designed in Israel? You think about that. How about Cadence Design? You've never heard of them, and yet you cannot make a chip without their simulator software. Nothing, and I mean nothing, gets built on planet Earth that does not have a US patent covering it, which they probably stole off someone else, but anyway. If you get smart, the US 5th and 6th Fleet will come and visit and take it all back. Isn't that right, ASML? Yes, even the Dutch know their place amongst the windmills. This is why the US economy can never collapse except by direct subversion and design. Money is irrelevant. Access to resources and enforcement of contracts is everything. America owes China $6 trillion. Big deal. What's China going to do? Tow Staten Island back to Beijing? Have you or your economic doom and gloom alt media gurus thought this one through? If I watch another idiot economic expert who's been saying the end is nigh 3 times a year for the past 20 years and is still saying the US is finished, when are you going to ask for your money back? Stop promoting these clowns. And what of Intel chip design? Seriously, you think Whitney Webb and the online alt media stars miss this? What about the foundation system of funding these Israeli Unit 200 groups into US cities? Whitney missed all this info, all those groupies, all those friends, all those investigative reporting skills. She missed it. Julianne Ramonello did not miss it though, and you have no idea who that is, do you? You have no idea about the Tulsa, Oklahoma George Kaiser Foundation and all the others like him. They brag of their funding of schools and Unit 8200 graduates pouring into Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's happening America-wide in every state. They're all linked in with drug trafficking and money laundering. They own banks, for crying out loud. You're worried about Globo Homo and tranny Spetsnaz dropping in from the sky, Red Dawn style. Are you kidding me? These are cover stories and distractions. It's psychological online warfare. These ridiculous drag queen storytime issues are there to distract you from these issues. Kabish? The drug money laundering system, the foundation system of control, of dispensing money to all these fake groups, promoting ridiculous issues. That's the issue they won't tell you about. None of these internet whore media stars will tell you a damn thing. There's a reason for that, obviously. Deep national security issues, not ridiculous shock jock, oh, I'm offended, fake news, manufactured items involving men in drag come to eat your kids. That is a joke on you. You're not supposed to know who Julianne Ramonello is, or Brendon O'Connell, or especially Mike Gill. You don't get cross-promoted when you tell the truth, the whole truth. Now, why don't we add this? What about the BIRD, the Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation? You've, of course, never heard of it. You should have, but again, no one will cross-promote with us, except lunatics, flat earthers, and neo-Nazis and white nationalists. When Mossad Rafe Eitan got booted after the Jonathan Pollard espionage fiasco, Eitan went from the now dismantled LACEM all the way to the BIRD to keep stealing US technology. You've never heard about this. We've been bleating on about it for 5 solid years.
BIRD was established by the US and Israeli governments with an extensive network in both countries. BIRD connects potential partners, one from each country, initiating strategic partnerships. BIRD funds up to 50% of the combined R&D budget, up to $1 million per project. The funding is a conditional grant, and BIRD claims no equity nor IP rights. Repayments are due if commercial revenues are generated as a result of the project. The United States and Israel have a common goal: to promote innovation and advance technology for mutual benefit that creates economic and social impact in both countries and beyond. That is what BIRD is all about.
It is in fact legislatively ordered that the US hand over technologies to Israel via the United States-Israel Energy Cooperation Act. Again, we gave it all to Whitney Webb 2019. We went into this deeply in 2018 and no one gave a crap. Me and Diane, the cat diva from Tennessee with no running hot water who rescues animals, and the great bullshit artist, investigative journalist Whitney Webb will not touch it. We handed it to Whitney Webb in 2019. She blocked us and refused to talk about it. Congress finds that, 1, it is in the highest national security interests of the United States to develop covered energy sources. 2, the State of Israel is a steadfast ally of the United States. 3, the special relationship between the United States and Israel is manifested in a variety of cooperative scientific research and development programs such as the United States-Israel Binational Science Foundation and the United States-Israel Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation. I'm sure Whitney put it in her 900-page Warren Commission hide the facts in bulkiness 2-part copy and paste monstrosity, but she didn't. That is a limited hangout. Capiche? Alan Dulles would be proud. Before the bird, Heinz Kissinger set up the BSF, the Binational Science Foundation, in 1973, the same time he was setting up modern China with US high technology and gutting the United States Manufacturing Center and building the Banker New World axis of incompetence and bad tanks. To this very moment, and we can show Whitney Webb's close cross-promotion with that Kissinger network. Whitney Webb says nothing. The internet whores say nothing. Do you want me to go on? Here is the CIA definition of what a limited hangout is. According to Victor Marchetti, a former special assistant to the Deputy Director of the Central Intelligence Agency, a limited hangout is, quote, spy jargon for a favourite and frequently used gimmick of the clandestine professionals. When the veil of secrecy is shredded and they can no longer rely on a phony cover story to misinform the public, they resort to admitting, sometimes even volunteering, some of the truth while still managing to withhold the key and damaging facts in the case. The public, however, is usually so intrigued by the new information that it never thinks to pursue the matter further. While used by the CIA and other intelligence organizations, their tactic has become popularized in the corporate and political spheres. Do you understand what Whitney Webb and all the rest of these cross-promoted alt media stars are? Their lies by omission are going to cost you the Republic of the United States of America and the lives of your children. Why do you think Whitney Webb hides in London these days? I mean, of all places, as they say in the Mueller Report, quote, I was recently hosted by the Israeli government after I delivered a talk at an energy and security conference there. They are ready to host Mr. Trump when the time is right for him and have also invited him to a big conference the largest newspaper there is hosting in July that Netanyahu will also be speaking at. The Russian government has an open invitation by Putin for Mr. Trump to meet him when he is ready as well. The advantage of being in London is that these governments tend to speak a bit more openly in neutral cities, end quote. Yeah, no wonder Whitney's there. Safe haven. Whitney likes neutral cities too and feels very safe there. I hope the organic chickens and solar panels at the Chile KGB property are being well looked after while they're back at home base. Listen, Lucifer and online Psyche Warfare minions come as angels of light. If they didn't, you would not listen to them. This is what this lying little viper, daughter of corporate multi-zillionaire lawyer, property developer / drug money launderer Richard Webb IV had to say about me without ever mentioning my name. Quote,
examples of stuff this guy says. My dad was CEO of FedEx. The guy and I don't even have the same last name.
End quote. Now, this woman is supposedly an investigative reporter. She really needs to brush up on her sourcing. Why doesn't she accuse me of stating she's the daughter of the Illuminati lizards? It's far more entertaining. In fact, I stated succinctly, on the record 500 times, which she knows full well, she is the daughter of Richard Webb IV, a multi-zillionaire property developer and drug money launderer, most likely laundering drug money out of Sarasota, Florida, home of the 9/11 hijackers. Now, the CEO of FedEx is in fact Fred Smith, no relation and no resemblance to Wonder Whitney's well-to-do family. I did not need to be an investigative reporter to work this out. Here is a private picture of Fred Smith at home with Joseph Davies, the man who introduced me to all these online people. Now, how do I have a private picture of Fred Smith, who dines monthly with George W. Bush at his ranch? I don't know, maybe a lot of high-up people seem very interested in what I have to report, though Whitney, like so many, will never mention my name. How the hell she claims I said her father was the founder of FedEx, is totally ridiculous. Anyway, the wit goes on. Quote,
I've never reported on Bill Gates.
Do you seriously believe I would say that? She's written dozens of articles on Bill Gates, obviously. Why would she even say that? How has she possibly gotten the idea this level of horseshit could possibly float? I said she has never reported the fact Bill Gates and Microsoft handed over the keys to the kingdom to Bibi and Israel, as you have seen earlier in this video introduction. Now her next claim against me is equally ridiculous. Quote,
He sent me all his research 15 years ago, plus when I was in high school, plus not on social media, plus all my work is actually his.
End quote. How does an investigative reporter get that so wrong? How? It's impossible. It's pure gaslighting. After all, she is stating I am a raving lunatic, so what has she got to lose? She should give my name. She should be laughing, but she's not. We sent her all our research in 2019, research I had bled for, got on the court record, had high-level counter-terrorism meetings over, been invited out with high-level intel people, and hung out in Iran with government analysts, friends with the foreign minister Zarif. I mean, who would want to speak to me? I'm also told the central figure in the upcoming video, American Jewish activist Jeremy Rothkashel, contacted her directly in 2019. She chose to block us all along with James Corbett and Ryan Christian of The Last American Vagabond, who Whitney Webb writes for. All the good stuff on Unit 8200 and Talpiot I had in court documents from as early as 2012 and 2010. Here is a quote from my High Court synopsis written from jail, Albany Maximum Security Prison in 2012, page 610. How elite military school feeds Israel's tech firms. 3 decades after Talpiot was founded to modernize the Israeli army, the program has created an unforeseen byproduct, a legion of entrepreneurs who has helped turn Israel into a technology juggernaut. End quote. I go into Zohar Zisapel and the 2012 High Court synopsis written from a maximum security jail with a badly broken, untreated arm, and it's talking to you as if it was a current day news item. That is how far I've personally been ahead of the curve on this issue. And I got jailed and beaten and watched people die over it. I'm in fact in exile over it right now. Here I am talking to the judge and prosecutor in 2010 stating if Israeli intelligence activity is a part of my case, I am setting them up as they were about to lift my gag order stating I could make no public comment on anything. Well, they were going to lift it and I wanted to know what I could talk about. But again, I was setting them up. I ask innocently if Israeli intelligence activity is a part of my case. Remember, this is 2010. Accused, that's me. Yeah, one of my favourite subjects is, of course, Israeli intelligence activity in this country to do with Campbell Barracks, Sydney Rail Transit System, recent tender of a $300 million contract with the military, $600 million contract with Amdocs, and Israeli intelligence front company with Telstra, giving all the billing details of all Australians. Judge Martino replies,
Well, Mr. O'Connell, as I think I've explained to you, I can't give you legal advice. I've imposed bail conditions on you. They include not to publish directly or indirectly any material relating to this prosecution. That's all I can say on that.
Accused. Would you then the DPP be able to clarify whether Israeli intelligence activity in Australia is a part of this prosecution? Mr. Duncan, the prosecutor on the day, says, Well, Your Honour, I'm not going to provide advice to this man either. I mean, it's for him to decide. I might want to consider how close he's coming to raising similar issues to that which will be the subject of the trial. Wow! Where is the news media coverage? No article on this incredible case in Perth, Western Australia back in 2010. They did end up arresting me again anyway and putting a gag order on me again when I promptly went out on the street after the hearing and made this video on Israel and 9/11.
Yeah, I think we should pursue them. In fact, go to the courthouses where they're gathering and get in their way, mess it up, keep talking about variant, keep talking about Israeli intelligence over the top of their interviews and really give it to them. That's a good idea, actually. That's a really good idea. That's something to think about, a bit of activism on the street. In fact, it's just occurred to me, to hell with this, I'm going to go up to the media and ask them if they've heard of Dr. Alan Sabrowski calling for Israel to be wiped off the map. Let's go. Let's do it.
Alan Sabrowski, Ph.D., University of Michigan, is a 10-year U.S. Marine Corps veteran and a graduate of the U.S. Army War College. Now, not only that, Dr. Sabrowski, correct me if I'm wrong here, not only are you a graduate of the U.S. Army War College, but you were director of studies there for some period of time. Is that correct?
That's correct, for 5.5 years.
Hey, how you going, fellas? It's Beltow Boy News reporting. Hey, just curious, did you see that Dr. Alan Sabrowski, former head of the U.S. Army War College, has said that Israel did 9/11, not Muslim terrorists, and also called for Israel to be wiped off the map? It's pretty heavy. No mainstream media reporting.
We'll have to put that to our foreign desk.
So you're ABC guys?
Brendon?
Yeah, Brendon, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, damn, I was hoping you were Channel 9. I'll have to be nice to the ABC.
Try to be everyone's friend.
What do you think about, sorry? Hey, what do you think about Dr. Alan Sobrowski, former head of the US Army War College, stating that he wants to wipe Israel off the map and Israel did 9/11? Sorry, I use this every opportunity I can.
No, don't have me on camera. I'm behind the scenes.
Oh, I know.
Hey,
remember you can call it.
Yeah, that's me. G'day, everyone. Hey, what do you think about Dr. Alan Sobrowski? Every chance I get in the media. He was the former director of studies of the US Army War College, and he's just said he wants to wipe Israel off the map and Israel did 9/11. Any comment? No?
A bit busy, sorry.
A bit busy. Not even for US Army War College director. Stating that when the American public find out that Israel did 9/11, they would wipe it from the map and no one would give a rat's ass. That's not even important? No? No comment? Always wanted to ask that. Every opportunity you get, come down to your local district court where all the media are, get in their face with a camera and keep saying, Dr. Alan Sobrowski, US Army War College, Director of Studies, I want to wipe Israel off the map, blah, 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 Israel did 9/11, and when the US public finds out, blah, 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 blah. Just get down and do something as simple as that. It's grassroots activism. You'll always find the media down by your local law courts. Get in their face with the camera and have some fun. It's all fun.
If the American people ever realize what's happened, they're done.
That's it.
You know, I have a dream, as Martin Luther King Jr. once said, you know, in my dreams that the 5th and 6th U.S. fleets take Israel and cream it. In my dreams that the 5th and 6th U.S. fleets take Israel and cream it.
High-level Israeli intel and espionage involved in a huge hate speech case where the Israeli state send their ambassador and deputy foreign minister against me, and Whitney Webb thinks she can get away with what she is doing. I assure you, she is finished. The Lie and the IIA Psyche Warfare employee are good sprinters, but they are terrible distance runners. They're just getting cross-promoted to make sure the ordinary people telling the truth are never heard from. I was jailed and bashed, beaten, death threats, suspicious deaths of family. Here's me with another stunt post-arrest in 2014, getting yeshiva military academies on the record. Nowhere on planet Earth has a police interview or court documents contain such information, and I may as well not exist. Well, there's a reason for that.
And also the yeshiva military academies. There's things called yeshiva military academies where ultra-Orthodox Jews go to train. They receive instruction, the nuts, the stuff they read out of the Babylonian Talmud, the Shulchan Aruch. These are books of the Mishnah or oral law. They are lunacy. They make Adolf Hitler and National Socialist ideology look tame. They're told to slaughter the Palestinians as they're animals. They have no soul. Anyway, you go on. These are the yeshiva military academies. And these are very dangerous because you have Australians. It's a bit like ISIS. Everyone would be very worried if, as Australian Muslims are going to train with ISIS. Well, we have a very big problem with Australian Jews going to train in the yeshiva military academies where they receive training in special forces training. They get their combat pilots from there. They want the best of the best from there. The most committed ideologues to the Israeli state. Explosives training, firearms training, so on. Electronic data intercept, specialists in hardware, software development, all sorts of stuff. They then go from there, and guess what? They come back to Australia, and then they get into a private and military institutions.
I understand all that, and that's very well explained on your blog.
And all Whitney Webb, the great IIA Operation Psyche Warfare superstar, can say is, or make out, I am an irrelevant, mentally ill lunatic who has been on Lebanese television.
I would like you to tell us about how Israel rules everything and dominates cybersecurity and the high technology sector via something called the Telpio program.
I first heard of the Telpio program via a forum post back in 2008, but they were training up individuals for up to 10 years in double majors in science, computer science, etc., and putting them through special forces training. And I thought, how interesting. And then they were making them corporate leaders, CEOs. And if you look at any of the large Israeli companies, and there's many of them, they've all gone through this program to a T. So this is Israeli military intelligence training CEOs. This is vital to understand. And one man in particular, although he didn't go through the program, he was one of the founders, and that is Zohar Zisapel, RAD Group, RAD. And yet RAD Group is one of their biggest companies with up to 20 sub-companies, which is handling European and American telecommunications, critical infrastructure security, electrical grids, government VoIP encryption, radar systems, military encryption communications. People think, well, they must be American, of course. No, they're not American. They're Israeli. And then, of course, you have the Intel factory, the most advanced Intel CPU design and fabrication, not just fabrication, design in Israel. And most people still to this day have no idea that Israel is basically a cyber technology juggernaut. And Benjamin Netanyahu brags, we're only a little bit smaller than the United States. And he brags, we are the second eye of the Five Eyes network. This is incredible. And that's their power. So when you hear America, think Israel.
Brendon, here, allow us, Israel has backdoor on all Microsoft devices. What can you tell us about the giant national security threat Israel poses to the United States of America?
backdoored the Intel CPUs, and in fact, the Intel CPUs have been ruined by Israel. Intel is in major decline right now because of Israel. There's no security in their CPUs. AMD is taking over now in Taiwan Semiconductor. And we also have, of course, Microsoft. Who knew that Americans have become so stupid they can't even service their own operating system? They've now sent this Windows Security Center, the very heart of the operating system. This is the keys to the entire operating system. Is not coded in Seattle, Washington in the United States. It's coded in Israel by Israeli military intelligence people. This is full access to the core kernel of the operating system and full access to the Azure Microsoft cloud, which includes the Pentagon cloud. This is incredible. And what's more incredible, and I thank you so much for raising this issue, to get it into the Arabic-speaking world, this is why Israel is so powerful.
Worked with government analysts in Iran and hung with friends of the foreign minister Zarif, met interesting people in Beirut and smoked Cuban cigars.
Ladies and gentlemen, hot from the hotbed of revolution. Well, actually, I think I'm pretty sick of revolutions here in Lebanon. It's Brendon O'Connell, the bell tower boy from Australia in Beirut, Lebanon, with my first authentic Cuban revolutionary cigar. The revolutionary fires are dying, but we'll keep them going. I'm here with Professor Joachim, who's the head of History and International Relations at the University of Lebanon. And we are networking very strongly here, and in a minute we're going to have a chat about just a couple of things, just as a little introduction. And we're just networking as hard as we can, which is why I haven't done many videos, but we'll get back very, very soon.
Whitney Webb, just one of the alt media chosen limited hangout superstars who ignore my story as much as they ignore Mike Gill, exhibits a huge amount of grandiose pathological narcissism and surety that her handlers have her well covered. You really need to read my UN refugee document and you will see my life has been a movie. Though I concede Mike Gill's story may eclipse mine by a substantial margin, though I have more international travel. I've given you just a tiny taste of what myself and 10 people have collected over the years. We were not supposed to be here. I was not supposed to be here. Like Mike Gill, I was supposed to be bought off and hanging with oil and gas execs and consular staff in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I just wish someone had offered me $50 million. Or I could have had my own travel show in Tehran with Press TV. But here I am. And so are you. Now, things are heating up and the financial world is abuzz with talk of imminent collapse. If I had $1 for every time an internet YouTube expert told me the sky was falling and hell was arriving, I'd have a reasonable income every month. These clowns have never got it right and never will. The numbers are meaningless. The US military-industrial complex is everything. If you want to understand what is going on, watch everything Peter Zion has to say and rest easy. It might be a bumpy ride, but relax. We'll get through it. No matter how many times Vladimir Putin threatens the West with his hypersonic penis, we will be okay. This introduction sets the scene for a video made many years ago, a video no one will link to or mention ever. Like former Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney emailing me I had a body of work to be proud of in March 2019, yet she will not mention my name, ever. She will hang out with Whitney Webb, though. But not only Whitney Webb, convicted pedophile Scott Ritter, another Putin groupie. I mean, seriously, you'd be associated with that clown? And Ryan Dawson, that piece of garbage? These people are professional liars and self-admitted frauds who will do anything for money. American Jewish activists Jeremy Roth Kushel and cameraman Greg McCarran do something amazing on this day in June 2019 in Iowa. They left their mother's basement and entered the real 3D world. They put on their sunscreen, donned a comfortable hat and wore sensible shoes, and into the wilds of the political lobbyists they went. They did not share a link. They did not sell a coffee mug or t-shirt. They did not read an article in their bedroom with green screen behind them telling people how important their shock reaction video was. Oh my God, men think they're women. And you should send them money when what you should be telling them is to go and get a proper f***ing job. Jeremy and Greg did not beg for money, sales of t-shirts or coffee mugs and ask you to like and subscribe. They engaged in something radical, politics. Real 3D world political work, lobbying. But half the dim-witted monkeys online are going to say politics is a waste of time. Yes, that is exactly the attitude the enemy seeks to encourage. Stay out of the way. Let we professionals spend billions on lobbying, despite you saying it's a waste of time. You know, that's why we spend billions on it. But apparently, whining like a little baby online to your echo chamber moron friends is not a waste of time. Imagine the logic. But Greg and Jeremy will not be deterred, and they cornered every single pathetic Democrat presidential hopeful on the street, from Bernie Sanders to Cory Booker to Tulsi Gabbard to Kamala Harris to Beto O'Rourke to Kirsten Gillibrand. This is amazing footage and worth its weight in gold. It's been deleted 5 times as my channel was deleted and totally ignored by the online cross-promoted whores. Sorry, I mean alt media stars. All of them, not one of them would touch it. They all know about this one video showing devastating video footage of the exposing of Israel as a technology juggernaut and massive security risk to America, and the online whores, sorry, old media stars, have zero to say, and I know they have all seen it because we have people snuggled up to them and they admit to it whilst adding that, I am mentally ill. That is literally what they say. But they will not mention my name, nor the video you are about to see. This is a video that promotes real-world, hardcore, practical political lobbying, and we got results. We got people fired, including the head of Microsoft Israel, Israeli military intelligence, Assaf Rappaport. Though we confess, we don't know if it made any difference, but we felt good about it. I'm so proud of this video. You should be too. You should be proud of the must-watch playlist videos that many of you contributed to. Myself and a few online associates have given you the full cyber high-technology angle of control and Israel's central role in subverting the United States as a subcontractor for the UK-EU central banking cartel of 13 old-school elite families who want to see an end to the US experiment in something that terrifies their born-to-rule privileged existence. Freedom and engagement of the peasants in the means of control and wielding of power. Mike Gill has given you the other financial, drug dealing and money laundering half of the control mechanism subverting the United States and indeed the planet. Dirtying politicians and law enforcement at every level and every level of government. This is the mechanism of how these ridiculous industrial high technology transfer decisions are being made, when it is self-evident is the destruction of the United States high technology sector and its national security. Heinz Kissinger sent US manufacturing to China, and Heinz Kissinger and Associates is sending US high-tech to the emerging Federated States of Greater Israel, and your local cross-promoting internet whores have duly failed to give you the full story to stop it. These people only appear to work for Russian intelligence. They really work for Kissinger and Associates, the right hand of Rothschild with Soros the left hand, with his foundation system money distribution network. Vladimir Putin is an employee of Kissinger, put in place via the Russian Foreign Minister Yuri Primakov. As is Rupert Murdoch, Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, Joe Rogan, Clayton Morris, Scott Ritter, Conor McGregor, and the Whitney Webb and every other internet whore for sale posing as a heavily cross-promoted internet grassroots star. How could it be ever more obvious with the cross-promoted Wonder Woman, Whitney Webb, who has zero to say on Mike Gill and his incredible revelations? Look, there is no shame with these people, no hesitation, no worries about how it looks. The private intel culture war cross-promotion gig will never end. Watch Francis Stoner Saunders and the Cultural Cold War on C-SPAN, linked below, showing the promotion of village idiots to the front of the propaganda pack, online and off. It's an entire crisis actor industry that rivals tourism and the services industry in money and numbers. The mainstream media is identical to the so-called alt media. The mainstream fire up the issue, preferably totally polarizing and bordering on the comical, like Drag Queen Storytime or a transgender school shooter out to kill Christian children, and the alt media follow the clickbait, lead story, and tell their gullible idiot groupies how shocked they all are at each other's horrible nature. Meanwhile, the transnational, international, Trotskyite banking cartel build the Federated States of Greater Israel, which will soon be the new high-technology and AI hub, while America will be totally demoralized and turned into a giant welfare state. None of these online whores can tell you the most self-evident and obvious things, like this simple image sent to me by an 18-year-old Swiss guy tapping on his 4-year-old tablet screen showing the conspiracy in action. General Jim Jones of NATO, founder of Denology and Clearforce, data analytics and psychological profiling, you can bet they cleared Whitney Webb and Venmo, and crisis actor employees who even have Fox News readers on their staff. Rupert Murdoch, arch-globalist propagandist posing as a grassroots cheerleader for the common man. And Heinz Kissinger, the right hand of Rothschild and subverter of the US State Department and proponent of world genocide via a virus with his buddy Bill Gates. Fred Kemp, head of the Round Table, treacherous Atlantic Council, the Round Table power behind St. Ronnie DeSantis and his Wall Street City of London backers. Whores and traitors, one and all. Now, while the little boys and girls straight-faced tell you how worried and angry they are about crisis actor trannies and drag queens taking over the world and kidnapping your children to put them in their meat pies, let us watch how political change really takes place. Watch this 20-minute video coming up right now. See how it is never promoted by anyone, and then look at who is being cross-promoted where and by who. And you will understand we can fix this. All it takes is a few good goy and a few good Jews. Let us attend. Jeremy Roth-Kushel has been on the street for years confronting the American political and business class.
Senator Sanders, the issue of the JEDI Cloud, the Pentagon being compromised by Israeli intelligence. Have you looked into that? Do you know that Microsoft is basically...
Excuse me.
Okay, this is a key issue, though. When are we going to talk about this?
From Lawrence, Kansas, this is Jeremy, Independent Line.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy.
I think good morning, Representative. I think it's time for the American people to understand that the people and nation of Iran are a potential natural ally if we were to negotiate and engage with them in an enlightened, firm, and honest manner. And really, in terms of that region, the only state that has threatened the use of nuclear weapons and that has recognized nuclear weapons by everybody who's willing to be honest is Israel.
There is a looming catastrophe in American national security with the outsourcing of sensitive military and civilian critical infrastructure projects. Jeremy Roth-Kushel and Greg McCarran have been out on the streets highlighting this. For much needed background on this subject, you need to watch these 8 videos contained on this YouTube channel under Brendon O'Connell, who had the Israeli state come out against him directly on the issue of Israel and US illegal high technology transfer to both Russia and China via Israel. In the 1980s, a massive immigration wave of Soviet Jews made their way to Israel. Many of them former Soviet-era missile technicians, computer scientists, aeronautical engineers, and materials scientists. They now have leadership positions within the booming Israeli high-technology sector, and more Russian and Ukrainian immigration follows. Over 60% do not even qualify as Jewish, but are accepted for their technology-related qualifications. And just in case you didn't know how advanced Israel is, Intel has built their most advanced design and fabrication factory in Israel. That's design, not just fabrication. And all those sons and daughters working in that factory, and the top levels of their teams are ethnic Russian coders and computer scientists. Some are from the United States. But Russia now has full backdoor access to the most advanced design and fabrication factory dealing in CPUs in the world. Here's Vladimir Putin's old friend Avigdore Lieberman, born in Russia, moved to Israel in his early 20s. Very recently, the Israeli Foreign Minister and the Israeli Defense Minister. US State Department cables reported him as an old friend of Vladimir Putin. Israelis called the KGB and GRU penetration agents to Israel Tayayim, or tourists, or mitrabim, settlers. Avigdore Lieberman is a mitrabim. And with no FBI counterintelligence and CIA counterintelligence able to operate freely in Israel, you can bet no one is checking those Russian technicians very closely. And if Russia is all through the Israeli high technology sector, then you can guarantee China is too. Just to make the point, let's read this article on the latest Intel CPU processors, state-of-the-art, designed and fabricated in Israel. This is from the Times of Israel, May 2019. Intel launches new processors that bring AI to the PC, sired by Haifa team. Haifa is a city in Israel. Codenamed Icelake, the processors have accelerated AI performance ×2, the graphics performance and almost 3 times faster wireless speeds than previous generations of Intel processors. US tech giant Intel Corp said Tuesday it has released a new generation of processors that bring broad-scale artificial intelligence to the PC for the first time. The processors were developed by Intel's Israel team in Haifa. The new 10th gen Intel Core processors, codenamed Icelake, are now shipping and are targeted to laptops and PCs. The processors will be in computers by the end of 2019, the company said in a statement. And we all wonder how many more backdoors they'll have in this range of Intel processors. Lily Galili, regular contributor to the Israeli daily paper Haaretz, wrote about the massive wave of immigration from the former Soviet Union in her book, The Million That Changed the Middle East. While the Trump administration talks a big talk about taking on China and technology and intellectual property theft, it has done little to nothing to stop Donald Trump's best friend, Benjamin Netanyahu, from pursuing his long and deep ties with communist China and Russia. And now Microsoft and Amazon, both leaders in the bid for the Pentagon Cloud server contract, are basing their most sensitive research and development departments in Israel. For Microsoft, this includes the use of Israeli cybersecurity company Adalom, started by graduates of Israel's top military intelligence programs. This is a security nightmare that dwarfs anything from the past, including the infamous Jonathan Pollard espionage case that was deemed so damaging to U.S. security.
Navy intelligence analyst Jonathan Pollard pleaded guilty this week to espionage charges, but the case is far from closed. He sold U.S. secrets to a group of Israelis. That is raising questions about U.S. relations with a close ally, while on another front, intelligence officials are pondering how to prosecute the growing number of spy cases without giving too many secrets away.
Members of Congress scolded Israel for damaging relations with the U.S.
It was indeed a serious effort by the Israeli government to penetrate our intelligence community, and it was successful, and I don't like it.
Jonathan Pollard pleaded guilty this week to spying for Israel. Ronald Pelton was convicted of selling top secrets to Russia. They are just 2 of 27 individuals arrested for spying in the last 2.5 years. And high-profile court proceedings have brought intense scrutiny not just to the spies, but to the secrets they gave away.
As Russia and China are outed as direct military and economic competitors to the United States, it's more imperative than ever to prevent the technology losses via the Israeli intelligence conduit operating in the United States, completely subverting the internal security apparatus within CIA and FBI counterintelligence. It may take a few good Jews within America to seal this breach. Here's Jeremy and Greg in action, bushwhacking the top presidential campaigners for the Democratic Party in June this year.
Whoa, not bad, partner. Follow me. I'll cover
Senator
you.
Booger.
Yes.
A quick question about national security with potential economic implications. There's a flyer for you to look at while I ask you it.
Oh, here, I can take that from you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'll give you one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Senator, the issue of the JEDI Cloud in the Pentagon.
Sorry, sir.
No, I need to ask you this. This is very important. Come on, we're on a public street here.
Understood, sir.
He said he was going to answer my question. Let him answer my question.
Thank you very much.
The issue of Microsoft is in the final running for the Pentagon Cloud, the JEDI Joint Enterprise Defense initiative.
Sir, we have some folks we need to talk to up here. Sorry,
Microsoft has put its cloud security in the hands of high-level Israeli military intelligence.
A pride campaign.
Are you concerned about Israeli military intelligence taking over?
I will be happy to answer your question,
security?
but not right now in this.
When? We're walking. Answer the question. Are you concerned about Israeli military intelligence penetration of the Pentagon, which includes backdoors to Russian and Chinese intelligence? Avigdore Lieberman is high-level Israeli intelligence who's known as a Russian intelligence asset. What are you doing? He seems to be... He had a long time to answer my question civilly, and they pretended like they were busy. Congresswoman, I'll walk with you. Jeremy Rothkushel. Okay, go for it.
Thank you. I'm sorry, we've got to get going.
Okay,
Thank you so much for your
couple
help.
quick national security issues, Congresswoman.
Thank you. You can talk to...
No, I need to talk to you. This is about serious national security issues.
I'm sorry, we've got to get going.
The issue, the Pentagon cloud is about
to get rid of the grand jury system. And what type
I can give you my email.
Okay, I would appreciate it, but I also need to talk to the Congresswoman.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Congresswoman, the issue of the Pentagon cloud being put into the hands of Israeli military intelligence.
Run, Forrest, run!
Congresswoman, you know that Israeli military intelligence might get the contract for the cloud for the Pentagon? All the data? They have a backdoor to Russian military intelligence? Do you want to deal with this Article 3, Section 3 issue? Why are you guys blocking?
We're just walking.
No, you're not. You're blocking. This is a very serious issue that deserves a moment. I understand. I've been walking with her. I'm not stopping her.
Can you please give me your contact info?
I will.
I will send her the...
But I don't understand why she gave lots of time to all kinds of press.
She's out of time.
Okay, she's walking. When you guys try to stop me from walking with her and talking about a national security issue.
She's in the middle of doing something. Maybe you're going to respect. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you guys.
Congresswoman, yesterday was the anniversary of the USS Liberty, where Israelis killed lots of U.S. Navy men. Now we're going to put the Pentagon cloud in the hands of the same government? It's very weird.
Can I have your email, and then I'll just take all your questions and give them to her, and we'll get back to you.
Sure. Give me your card, and I'll email you. Can I give you the flyers that I wanted for her to have? Because I've been discussing with the local veterans, the local National Guards people. This is a very serious issue. This is about to happen. You know, the last time that cyber was put in the hands of Israeli nationals was in the run-up to September 11th, when Amit Yaron, the Israeli national who was sheep-dipped in the U.S. Army, was put in charge of the Pentagon cyber infrastructure. Are you aware of that?
You know what? I'm not. I'm just waiting for the Congresswoman. I'm going to get her back to the car. That's my job. So.
Okay, I understand that. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate you understanding.
Yes. Well, I would appreciate some understanding from the Congresswoman and her staff about how serious these issues are. This decision about the Pentagon cloud, it's going to come down to Amazon or Microsoft. Microsoft at this point is largely coded in Israel. Israel for decades has been penetrated by the highest levels of previously Soviet intelligence, now Russian military intelligence. They're probably having Russian military intelligence working on F-35s that have been given over to Israel. And now if Microsoft gets the contract, they have just recently bought Adalom, which was started by the 3 people from the Talpiot program, which is the highest level Israeli military intelligence. Long-term military intelligence planning. And so that is the cybersecurity hands that we're about to pass, potentially, the Pentagon's cloud architecture into.
Well, I'll have a discussion with the Congresswoman about it. And Aaron, you can email Aaron, or Aaron will email you, and you guys can have a discussion about all of that, and we'll just get you into the process.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
and because I
commit right now, you know.
No, I appreciate that. And but my sense was that the Congresswoman took national security issues very seriously, and the issue of wars and veterans. Senator Harris. It's an important question, and I need to inform her about it. No, I need to inform her directly about a major national security breach. I'll give it to you, but Senator Harris. Senator Harris. Senator Harris, the issue of the Pentagon cloud going into the hands of Israeli military intelligence and the backdoor to Russian. You don't have time for the security of the Pentagon cloud, Senator Harris?
Feel the burn.
Israeli military intelligence, Microsoft, please take it.
Thank you.
Very serious. Potentially Article 3, Section 3 issues involved there. Can I get a quick question for you? Sure. Jeremy Rothschild, fellow Ethan, your wife, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I gave her we met. I gave her a flyer. I wanted to ask you about national security, economic question.
Sure. Who are you with?
I'm with We the People Press. We don't get paid, but we ask the questions everybody needs to hear. As the question of the JEDI Pentagon cloud that's basically going to be contracted to either Microsoft or Amazon. It's basically Microsoft has handed over its cloud security to Israeli intelligence, Adalom security, and we know that the deep penetration of Israel into the high levels of the Pentagon, naval intelligence, Jonathan Pollard, has really crippled aspects of our national security. Plus, there's the economic issues of the backdooring of our technology and the shipping it out to Israel. Plus, there's this backdoor then to Russia and China. Do you have any comment about any concerns about that issue?
I'll just say that as president, my priority would be the security of this country, the safety of every single one of my fellow Americans, and I recognize that there are already attacks being conducted against this country, and the privacy of our fellow Americans is already being violated from without, but also from within. Many of these tech giants that you just described have been irresponsible with our personal data, sometimes have collaborated with our own security services like the NSA to violate our constitutional rights and our protections against unreasonable search. So I want to make sure that there's far greater transparency in how we pursue our security agenda, and that we protect this country and our fellow Americans from any foreign involvement whatsoever from any country.
Okay, will you take this, please? Thank you. And please look into that cloud issue. Thank you. Senator Sanders, the issue of the JEDI Cloud, the Pentagon being compromised by Israeli intelligence. Have you looked into that? Do you know that Microsoft is basically...
Excuse me.
Okay, this is a key issue, though. When are we going to talk about this? Israeli intelligence took over the Pentagon's cloud architecture.
We'll definitely talk about that.
Okay, when are we going to talk about it?
There's going to be question and answer time. We're going to have a couple rallies.
Okay.
And please come, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Definitely here. Listen, I completely understand what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm a refugee from Somalia, and I know exactly what that situation is like. So.
Okay.
It's not enough time. I'll defuse the bomb. You go save the girl. It's done.
Come on in the shade.
There,
I'll
walk with you.
The shade.
Yes.
Get into the shade.
Okay.
Just down here. Okay.
I have a national security question that has economic implications, and I want to give you and your campaign
Tell me who you
information.
are.
My name is Jeremy Rothschild. I'm with We the People and our press functions as defined under the First Amendment.
Okay.
This issue right now, the JEDI.
Very quickly, because we got to run.
Okay, the
really
Pentagon.
quickly.
The Pentagon is about to outsource cloud security to the top levels of Israeli military intelligence, which has been compromised for years by the Russians and then prior Soviets. Microsoft has put its cloud security in the hands of Adalom, which has been started by 3 Talpiot program members, the highest levels of Israeli military intelligence. Do you have any concerns about putting our Pentagon entirety of all of our data in the hands of a potential, foreign government, and also back channel to potential Russia and China?
So I've been on the Armed Services Committee now for 10 years, and I can tell you that we take national security very seriously, and we are aggressively looking out for how we have to be cyber secure. And this is an issue I will look into, I will delve into deeply to assure that we are not beholden to any other country and that we are not at risk by any other country.
Just do it! Just do it!
Well, thank you for your answer.
All right,
Appreciate it. Okay.
this. It's time to stop. No, this is not okay. It's time to stop. It's time to stop. This is not okay. This needs to stop now. This is cancer. This is so much cancer that I can feel the tumors growing on my back. And it's weighing down heavy on me, and it's not okay. Can you help me out and just stop this? Please?
And I can tell you that we take national security very seriously, and we are aggressively looking out for how we have to be cyber secure. And this is an issue I will look into, I will delve into deeply, to assure that we are not beholden to any other country, and that we are not at risk by any other country.
My name is Peter Pan, and I approve of this message.
James Angleton, the hardliner, for 30 years the implacable opponent of communism, resigned from the CIA in December 1974. No one seemed to realize anymore, he said, that even an imperfect democracy was preferable to a totalitarian state.
You can be a small service, have one great penetration, then you can move the world.
And cyber is a real domain of power. And cyber is a real domain of power. Israel now is a cyber power, it's a water power, it's a solar power, it's an agricultural power, it's a milk power, can you imagine? This makes Israel very powerful. This makes Israel very powerful. This makes Israel very powerful.
You can be a small service, have one great penetration, then you can move the world. It usually takes a national crisis or a Pearl Harbor where people then understand what survival means. But you don't have to be a great or large or wealthy country to have a good intelligence service. As long as you have the norms, as long as you have the disciplines, as long as you have the motivation, the singleness of purpose, you can be a small service, have one great penetration, then you can move the world.
Good morning to you, laddies! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Yes, we can.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely, without mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations. Second Lieutenant Charlie.